everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another cross-stitching update video. In this video, I am going to be working on more of my whips, which currently for the year 2026, I'm only going to be focusing on 10 of my cross-stitch progress with the hopes of making good progress on the projects and also hopefully finishing some, and then I can rotate the projects once I get things finished. So in this video, I will be working on Dragon Hall, which is by Long Dog Sampler. This is my starting point on this, and on each project, I'm trying to do 1,500 stitches before I rotate it out. This project, because it's not full coverage, I have been struggling to get my stitching in on it, so I think I'm going to be doing daily stitching and do like 100 or 200 stitches a day, and then once it has reached 1,500 stitches for January, I will put it away and I'll be done. The fabric for this one is iron ore. It is from thesewingshop.ca, and I'm stitching it 1/1 on a 20 count, so here's my starting point on this piece. And then I have my whips that I haven't worked on yet in January, which are in this bucket, and I am trying to decide what to work on next. Are they all in here? Let me count first real quick. I feel like one of them is missing. I found it. One of them was missing. So there are 5 projects that I have not worked on yet in January, and I think what I'm going to do is 2 of the projects are not very colorful and then 3 of them are. So I think I might first pull out one of the not colorful ones and get that one out of the way. And so I think the one that I will work on first in this video is Witcher, which is retired from Thread Geeks, and I think this one is Witcher. So like I said, I have a few really colorful ones in here that I am really excited about, but I feel like I should do some of the non-colorful ones first. So here is my starting point on Witcher, and I think I'm going to work more on the face today, or maybe the background. I don't know. And this is on a 25 count fabric, 2/1/2 cross, and here's my starting point. And I will be back hopefully in the next few days with my progress on him, and then we will also pick out another whip. I am back, and I just realized that this looks a little bit creepy. So I have been working on Witcher, and I was filling in more of his face, and I think I might alternate. So like this time I worked on his face and I did 1,500 stitches, and then the next time I pull it out, I might do background and then go back and forth between background and face so that I am filling background in so that I'm not leaving that all till the end, but then also getting to work on his face sometimes, which, like I said, it's a little creepy. Like no, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. He's a little scary right now. Anyways, so I did my 1,500 stitches on Witcher, and now I'm going to switch projects because I want a little color, and so I decided that I would pull out Merry Mushroom Village Picnic number 3, which is artwork by Amy Stewart and charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and this was part of the Haid 2024 stitch along. You can also find this chart, like a full-size version of this chart, on the Haid website, and it's called Merry Mushroom Village Picnic. So here's my starting point on this. This is on a 28 count fabric, 2/1/2 cross, and because it's a stitch along, it is a pretty small piece, a pretty small chart. So I think that all I have left is I do need to like finish this row, and then I think it's like partial pages underneath. So I think there isn't a ton left. There's like 24,000 stitches left on this until it's finished, and I would like to get this finished maybe this year, hopefully this year. So yeah, I will do my 1,500 stitches and then I will report back when I am done. I am back, and it is currently Monday, and it took me a lot longer than I thought it would to do my 1,500 stitches on Merry Mushroom Village Picnic number 3. I did not stitch every day though. I think I had 2 days where I wasn't stitching because I was working on knitting and crocheting, I think both of those days. So yeah, I just didn't stitch a lot. So here is my 1,500 stitches on this piece. This is the bottom of the chart, so I decided that on this section here where I was already like had this page finished, that I was going to stitch down to the bottom, and then that way I can like fill in this section and then start working my way finishing the page here, and then there is like a partial page down here. So that's what I want to try and do, is start filling it in and actually finishing working across to the other side. There are so many noises. There's like birds and then there's like thumping. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, so I did my stitching on this and now I'm ready to switch pieces because I am tired of these colors. And so I decided I will pull out Cozy Winter Book Nook, which is artwork by Rose Kahn, charted by Pain Free Crafts. And I only have 3 projects left to work on this month out of my 10. So there is Cozy Winter Book Nook, Fables, and then Dragon Race Into the Night, which I think I'm saving Dragon Race Into the Night for last. And I'm hoping that that means that I'll be able to give it a little bit more time, because once I have finished like this rotation, then I can just spend the rest of the month that I have left on Dragon Race Into the Night if I want. But that really depends on how long it takes me to do my stitching on Cozy Winter Book Nook and Fables. So let's see. So on Cozy Winter Book Nook, I will be stitching, I'm trying to decide where I want to stitch. So I had been recently in December stitching in the window. I might keep stitching there, or I might work my way over, just because it would be kind of fun to make it to the other side. So like this is page 1, so it would be kind of nice to see how wide this piece is going to be. So I might work my way over. We will see. And this is on 25 count, 2/1 half cross, which is a tent stitch. I also had a question about warping, and so far I haven't noticed a ton of warping in my tent stitch pieces. And the one that I'm going to say I see the most warping is actually the Haid Stitch Along. And I think part of it is it's on 28 count, 2/1 half cross. And so the back and confetti areas gets really thick. So there's more threads, I think, that will like pull it and distort it. So this one does have some warping. You can see the sides are kind of slanting like that. But it's not too bad, and it's something where when you finish the project, you get it wet to get the lines out, and then when it's drying, you can pin it and kind of stretch it to be the shape you want it to be. So it's not something that I'm like too worried about. And like I said, I've noticed it more on like this piece where the threads are really tight in the background, because there's a ton of confetti in this piece and I will carry threads, and so I think like all that thread pulling is more likely to make it lean. I will also say that I don't stitch in any certain way. So for tent stitch there are different methods. I'm trying to remember what they are. There's basically doing like a regular half cross. There is a way where you're doing like a basket weave. So on the back of the fabric, it makes like it makes a basket weave look. And usually with full coverage pieces, there is so much confetti and color changes that it would be pretty hard to stick with one method in a project. And so usually I just kind of, stitch whatever, because like a lot of times it's like 2 stitches here, 2 stitches here, 3 stitches here. So you're jumping around so much that I feel like it would be really hard to stick with one method. But yeah, and then I'm going to say that on this one is on 25 count, so it's not as tight. It's a little bit, there's more room, I guess, for the threads. And I feel like this one, I'm not really seeing any distorting or warping at this point. But like I said, I feel like I noticed it more on like this piece. Yeah, you can see it's like going a little bit. And like I said though, when you pull it and block it, it should be able to block out. I know Kaylee Tent Stitch on Instagram recently finished a piece, and she showed a video of her piece during the blocking process, and before it was blocked it had a lean to it, and then she blocked it and she had like a ruler with a right angle, and then she just showed the process of like, the pulling it, and then eventually it got to be more, straight. So it's not something I'm worried about. Usually when you are finishing the project, you can block it out. And then also in the process of framing, if you lace a project, you can usually, pull things the way that you want them to go, kind of. So yeah. I'm gonna go and get to stitching though. So I'm going to be working on Cozy Winter Book Nook, and I will be back once I have done at least 1,500 stitches. I am back with my final update for this video, and I have been working on Cozy Winter Book Nook. I have not reached my 1,500 stitches, but it is currently Wednesday, January 21st, and I realized I just wanted to get this video out, and then I will do another video for the last week of the month. So that's what I decided to do. And so I did 1,100 stitches so far on Cozy Winter Book Nook, and I made it over to the other corner. So I started working on the blue because there's a piece of fabric that hangs, and there was 2 shades of blue that easily went to this corner, and so that's what I did, is I made it to the other corner. So I have both corners found. So this is, the one where I started, and then now I have the far corner, and now I kind of want to work my way down, but I feel like that's harder because this was pretty easy because there was the lights here that went pretty far, so I could just follow the lights, and then there was this blue piece of fabric, but I don't know if it will be as easy to make it down to the bottom corners, so we will see. But I will be working on this again in my next video and trying to do the last 400 stitches that I need to get done on that piece. And then I will also show my progress on Dragon Hall, which I have been on and off working on because I was struggling with a color. So I will show you. Here's what I have gotten done. I don't even know how many stitches this is because I have stitched and ripped out this one area 3 times. I wasn't sure what color I wanted to do here. I knew I wanted to do something with a sparkle. So this is a sparkly dark blue. It is DMC E12, and I think the color 823. And at first I was trying out lighter colors. So I used the DMC Diamante or whatever, which that stuff is not fun. Hold on, I have it right here. So I have this, I got it from Michael's or something, they had it, and I was like, ooh, I'll try it out. This is not a very good metallic, I'm gonna say that. It's splitty at the ends. I don't know if you can really see that. The ends are very splitty, and it's like a stiffer metallic, so I don't love that. And I was like, I'm not gonna enjoy stitching, however many stitches this swirly bit is in a gold metallic like that. And so then I tried that. I tried another gold that I have, and it was too light on the fabric. And then I had also tried a different color of the DMC E12 because the whole thing is I'm just trying to use what I have in my house. And so I was searching, what metallics do I have, because I have quite a few of the E12s or whatever they're called. And I also have some other metallics from when I stitched on Kita, and I also used them on, I think, another project, but I don't remember which one. So I have a few laying around, but I was just trying to figure out which one would work best in this piece. And so there was one of the colors that I tried that worked well right here because there's the dark line in the fabric, but then over here it wasn't showing up very well because the fabric, changes colors. And so it was trying to find something that would work well on all the areas of the fabric, and yeah, and it took me a really long time. So I would stitch this swirl, and then I would set the project down and then leave it for a day or two, and then I would come back and be like, do I still like this? And then I'd be like, nope, I don't. And so then I'd have to rip it out, and then I stitched it again. And so yeah, I stitched this little swirl a lot of times, but I am happy with the way it's looking now, and I'm glad that I tried the different ones and took the time to experiment to decide what I wanted to do. I also stitched some of these colors because I wanted to also see how the other colors were going to look next to this little swirly bit. So I stitched some of the other colors that are going to be in this section here just to see how everything would kind of play together. And so far I am liking it. I am changing some of the colors from what I had originally charted because this color here, the bright pink, was originally supposed to be this lighter color that is right here, but it really blended into the fabric when it didn't have the black around it. And so I decided to change it to a hot pink because, for one thing, it was what I had, and I also felt like it went well with the other colors that are going to be stitched. So I'm just changing things as I go. And I think on this bird up here, I think I might change the colors. I kind of want it to be blue and green. So I might change the colors on certain things as I go and just really, you know, get creative. I don't have a lot of opportunities to change colors and pieces because I do so much full coverage where you have to stitch the colors, you know, as charted. So it's really fun, you know, doing this where I can have some freedom and also try and use up some of the flosses that I have accumulated. Like, I've wanted before to do like the floss of the month things, but at the same point I also know that I don't use enough random colors of floss to make it worth it, but they always look so fun. So yeah, I need to like possibly get into doing some more like random like sampler things where I can change colors, because floss of the month, it does sound fun. I always see the flosses and they're always like super pretty, and then I'm just like, but I wouldn't use them because I do so much full coverage. Anyways, that is all for this video though. I did work on my knitting and crochet blanket, but I will show that just at the end of the month because there is some progress made, but it wasn't enough really to be like, here it is. Plus it's the exact same projects. I'm working on the forest berry skirt, which is from Fable Knitwear, and I am working on my granny square scrap blanket. But yeah, so I'll show those at the end of the month. Hopefully there will be like a little bit more progress made into them. And then I have not finished any books. I have started books, but they're not finished. And I am still just playing Baldur's Gate 3. So there's not a lot to update on any of those things. So I will just talk about them in the next video at the end of the month. And we can have kind of like a January recap. So thank you everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!